HaNoi, North Vietnam's lively capital city, located in the north of the country, set amid the delta plains of the Red River. Compared to other Southeast Asian cities that have developed into modern metropolis at breathtaking speed, HaNoi could be described as being a provincial city. Shady streets, lakes and parks embellish the city's grey ocean of buildings and its 3 million inhabitants. It is the city between two rivers. In 1882, the French built their government offices around the city's large Ho Hoan Kiem Lake. The city became the capital of French Indo China. The lake is surrounded by splendid old villas and public buildings. In the early morning, several of the city's inhabitants arrive to go about their traditional exercises. A convenient and healthy ritual that is often followed by a chat under the clear blue sky. And the gods are also worshipped here. On Jade Mountain to the north of the Ho Hoan Kiem Lake, there is a 19th century temple that is dedicated to the conqueror of the Mongolians, Quan Than. The ingenious scholar Van Zhuang and the patron saint of medicine La Lo are also honoured here. A contemplative temple complex that is a popular place of worship and one of the city's most important landmarks. The Van Mieu Temple once contained Vietnam's first university. It is highly revered. From the 11th century, the city's functionaries were educated here according to Chinese ideals, and prior to becoming mandarins, became well versed in the doctrines of Confucius. After the university was transferred to the new capital of Hue in the 19th century, the complex continued to be an important place of worship for the teachings of Confucius. In the 15th century, King Li Tantong had a number of stone pillars built that bore the names of various students. These augment the meditative atmosphere of this sacred place. The drum tower was also important, and spacious courtyards, halls and pavilions are of traditional architecture, all beautifully restored. The final building contains a holy shrine dedicated to Confucius, protected by numerous frightening images. The Ho Chi Minh Museum, a concrete building 3 stories high, was inaugurated in May 1990 to commemorate Ho's 100th birthday. Ho Chi Minh was the leader of a rebellion against the colonial authorities. And on the 2nd of September 1945, he became the first president of the Republic of Vietnam. Parades are held in front of his mausoleum. Among the military prizes of the nearby Army Museum, there's a MiG-21 and a T-54 bomber. The hexagonal flag tower of an old citadel rises above the museum. After the French, the Japanese occupied Vietnam after the Second World War, and they lived alongside the French occupying forces right up until the creation of the Republic of Vietnam. In the south, the United States supported General Van Thieu and subsequently bombed North Vietnam. The Vietnam War ended with the signing of a peace treaty in Paris in 1973. And in 1976, the Socialistic Republic of Vietnam was formed. The Chua Mot Cot Pagoda is one of the oldest religious buildings in Hanoi. A temple built upon a single column in the center of a small lake. Legend has it that the childless king Li Tai To saw the goddess of mercy in a dream in which she presented him with a son. Soon afterwards, an heir to the throne was born, and thus the king ordered the construction of this pagoda, and the future of the dynasty was assured. Zhuodongzhuan is the name of a large market. It contains a huge variety of goods, and it's also where the local people do their adventurous shopping. There's a fine array of fresh fruit and vegetables, electronic gadgets, clothing and TVs, and lots of freshly cooked food. Vietnam has gradually become westernized, but old ways, such as the keeping of singing birds, is still a popular tradition. Full of traders and craftsmen, the lanes in the old quarter are flanked by tiny shops that date back to the 19th century. A romantic setting reminiscent of various old paintings. A fascinating picture of a traditional town and a site that is rapidly becoming a thing of the past. Dao Quan, one of the most beautiful Taoist temples in Vietnam, it is located close to the National Library, southeast of the Temple of Literature. An oasis of tranquility, a place to worship benevolent spirits, and for those who believe in divine and spiritual natural powers. This temple was built to honor the national hero Tu Yen, who defeated the Cham for King Li Tan Tong in the 15th century. Tu Yen and his family were followers of the Taoist religion that was introduced to North Vietnam by the Chinese in 100 BC. The exotic-looking Taoist temples feature a large variety of gods and goddesses, along with plants, water and animals. This, the former palace of the French Governor-General, has been fully restored and in 1932 was transformed into a history museum. This traditional building of Indo-Chinese design, yet a masterly mix of Eastern and Western architecture, was designed by Ernest Ebrard. It provides a comprehensive overview of Vietnam's history, including the culture of ancient Cambodia, as well as that of the Cham. Religious exhibits dominate the museum that also features numerous Buddha statues and images of Hindu gods. The park in front of the museum contains further exhibits, such as a stone flag that contains the oldest grave inscription in Southeast Asia. Quan Than is probably the city's oldest temple. It was once located on the banks of the Red River, but was relocated to this site in the 17th century. The Temple of National Defense is located on the site of the former summer palace of the Li monarchs, on a dam between Lake West and Lake Trubach. The complex comprises several buildings. A gateway leads to a number of green courtyards. They contain various buried stupas. The pillars describe the history of this place. The sunlight forces its way through the smoke of the fumigants, and the gentle prayers of the pilgrims create a mystic atmosphere. The elegant facade of the opera is still a symbol of French colonial architecture. Built in 1911, it is a replica of the Paris Opera House. This splendid building, located in the former center of the city's historic district, contains a theater. Inaugurated in 1993, the Thang Water Puppet Theatre is one of the finest examples of its kind in Vietnam, and is so popular that its twice-daily performances are completely sold out. Large wooden puppets move through the water and perform stories and legends. Dragons emerge from the water, farmers survey the land, and fishermen search for a prize catch. The water puppet show is only performed in Vietnam. Originated in the rural delta area of the Red River, and in the 17th and 18th centuries, it also entertained the imperial court. The puppeteers stand up to their hips in water behind a bamboo curtain and control the puppets with sticks. Ha Noi, The old district that is also known as the town of 36 crafts, with various rectangular sections separated by walls. There were once 36 areas, each one devoted to a professional guild. Non-members were not allowed there. Indicating the various craftsmen, only the street names remain. The old town leaves much to be desired, and its sanitation is also somewhat lacking. The soul of the city lives within its old town in the streets of its citizens and craftsmen. Thus, the former unique atmosphere of this district was once described. The old town originated in the 11th century during the Li dynasty. The reigning monarch summoned craftsmen and artists from their villages and into the city's workshops. The living quarters were similar to village communities, workshops, temples, and fortified gates. The oldest houses date back to the 19th century. A red wooden bridge leads to a small island in the middle of a lake. Here, in the shade of a tree, is the Nok Son Temple. The closed main gate is of typical Chinese pagoda design, and it has a wonderful, romantic atmosphere. On public holidays, popular water puppet shows take place around the Bridge of the Rising Sun. The Long Bien Bridge near the old town spans 1,700 meters across the Red River. It was built during the rule of the Governor-General and later French President Paul Doumer, and inaugurated in 1902. Due to its strategic importance as the only connection between the northern and eastern hinterland, the bridge was frequently bombed during the Vietnam War. As the North Vietnamese rebuilt the bridge each time it was destroyed, it soon became a well-known symbol of resistance throughout the country. Today, the river flows peacefully, and the devastation caused by the Vietnam War seems a long way away. The Long Bien Bridge is one of the city's main landmarks. On the site of what was once the city's largest Buddhist pagoda, Catholic missionaries from France built a cathedral. On Christmas Eve 1886, the majestic and exotic Ha Noi Cathedral was consecrated to St. Joseph. Once painted colourfully, today it is grey. Its sides are supported by tall Gothic arches, similar to those of the church buildings of northern France. Colourful glass windows illuminate the interior. The huge interior filled the city's population with awe due to its generous dimensions. It was a truly unique sight. Catholic religion has mostly been rejected in North Vietnam, although it was popularized by the South Vietnamese government of President Diem in the 1950s. The two 5-story high towers of the sacred building tower above the surrounding houses, an impressive example of European-influenced architecture. Luxurious Hotel Metropole was opened in 1910. However, the noblest hotel of colonial Hanoi later fell into disrepair. Following its complete restoration, this modern white structure and its 204 rooms is now one of the city's finest and most expensive hotels. Quan Than, the richly adorned temple of the great god, dates back to the 11th century. It is dedicated to the Vietnamese god of war. Han Vu, who was also the patron saint of the north, has guarded the city for thousands of years. His temple is located on the banks of Lake West. Legend has it that Tran Vu fought against a fox with 9 tails. During several days of battle with this demon, a hole appeared in the ground and filled up with water. Within the interior of the main temple building, various gods are worshipped, and this huge, dark statue is a frightening sight. As this temple is one of the city's most important sacred buildings, it often becomes quite crowded. A high wall protects the temple complex from the noisy streets outside. On the banks of Lake West, several restaurant boats lie at anchor, along with a variety of colorfully painted pleasure boats. This beautiful lake in the north of the city is a reminder of a lake in Hangzhou. The country's former monarchs once had their residences built on the banks of these lakes. These are the exclusive villas of the new money classes, of successful businessmen and leading politicians. An ideal paradise of water sports and a training camp for enthusiastic rowers. Perhaps the next Olympic winner will come from Vietnam. Lake West is the largest lake in Hanoi. Thousands of years ago, myth and legend once influenced the foundation of this fascinating city, with its citadel, royal palace, and forbidden city. Over the centuries, Hanoi has been frequently conquered, lost its status as a capital city, and also changed its name several times. But it has survived and is still full of timeless charm and aged beauty. Hanoi, the pearl of North Vietnam.